Ha na 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 na. Oh, I see the sound waves. Oh, you actually have to put which. Okay, that makes sense. 2, 1. All right, cool. Hello. Welcome, my low-life friends, to the newest edition of the Ludlow-Life podcast. I really hope this shit works, because I'm a man who is now a owner of a Mac little laptop thing. I don't know if they call them MacBooks. Oh, it says it right on there. Yep, I can confirm. That's what it's called. And I don't know how to use this shit at all. And it's frustrating, to say the least. But anyway, we carry on. It's another episode of just me today because I'm getting goddamn sick of all of frickin' Pete's delays and shit. And I said, fuck it. I'm doing it myself. That's how it goes. It's not all his fault. Not to sound like a grumpy dickhead, but it's like, things have been busy and schedules and things, and most of you listening are probably like, what? Pete has a busy schedule? What are you talking about? I know. I'm saying the same thing, but whatever, apparently. So, but it's nice to finally have an at-home somewhat computer setup to make the podcast. Sorry for the lack of editing in the last episode, the most fucking all of them lately, really. The lack of editing, and usually, I put like the funniest clip right in the beginning, catch your attention, put a, one-word trend song, and then we get into it. Lately, it's just been like, if I can actually get a podcast up, that would be great. And I hope you appreciate us fucking pushing through and making the show go on at all costs. Sorry, clearing my throat a bunch. How about I drink some light blue Gatorade? This is not a sponsorship. One of my favorite Gatorades is the Gatorade Zero, the Glacier Freeze. That one and the Orange Zero, to me, are the best. I don't know why. That's just how it goes. For my taste buds, I guess you would say. Well, I got some notes here of things I was going to talk about. I'm a little more prepared than last time I tried to do one of these by myself. So yeah, I need to learn how Macs work. And it's tough when you're a dummy working in the field of construction and it feels like technology just keeps passing you and you're stuck in the Stone Age and you just feel dumber and dumber every day because you do zero computer-related work. I used to solely work on a computer. I used to sit at a desk for 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week at a computer, which at the time, and I'm talking 2013 or 14, let's see, what was it? Windows 7. Yep, it was Windows 7 I was using. And my computer, my trusty old computer, my at-home computer, that we used to make like the first, I don't know, was it 15, I guess? 15 podcasts? That was, from the same time period. I got that computer to learn how to do the job I was doing at the time, which related to AutoCAD and stuff like that. So I've been kicking around that same 2013 computer this whole time until recently when it died. It said, that's it. I had enough. You're trying to make too many podcasts and recordings on me, and fuck you, pal. Not going to work anymore. But where was I going with that? Oh, yeah. So basically, that's my wheelhouse is like Windows 7. That's about it. And now it's like when I have a Mac with whatever, I don't know what they call their versions of operating systems. I know nothing about it. Never had any Apple anything besides iPods and iPhones. When it comes to like a computer that you do productive things on, never, I'm totally new to this shit. But I'm going to figure it out. And then eventually we're going to actually be uploading the podcast back on YouTube with the funny thumbnails and, much cooler looking when you share it on the social medias rather than just, the link to the Spotify and Apple podcast little link there. But, we'll work on it. I mean, by that I mean I'll work on it with the help of Cassie because she knows more about computers than me. But anyway, all this complaining, bitching, moaning about things. How about I just go ahead and say thanks to Josh for once again, for letting us, record an episode at the C3 headquarters, which I've decided to name it that, where the C3 Coffee, Cannabis, and Consciousness podcast gets recorded. I thank him a lot for, letting us record there, and that's how we got the last episode to you. So, big shout out to him. They just got a new podcast logo designed by our good buddy Matt Steck. So, yeah, if you're listening to this and you're not listening to the Coffee, Cannabis, and Consciousness, what are you doing? They're way better than this. So, you should just stop listening now. Go listen to them. Listen to a real fucking podcast. All right. Let's see here. What's next in the notes of things to talk about? Like I said, once I get the that's the other thing about uploading on YouTube. Once I get the video editing process sorted out, which consists of a whopping putting a image in and putting the audio file in and creating a video file. Once I get all that figured out on this new system I got here, then we'll be back to uploading them on YouTube. So, on to musical things and one word trend and my solo acoustic stuff. So, big thank you to everyone who came to the O's on July 9th to see One Word Trend, which was an exact week after our July 2nd show. So, anybody who came to both of those, I mean, it's, I feel bad even trying to ask somebody, hey, I know you just came to that show. You want to do the same exact thing for me? Want to do me a solid and just show up again, the same place, same time next week? So, those of you who did actually do that, you are the best. And don't think that we take that shit lightly. That is I super appreciate it. And it was another fun time. I get this feeling, like my general feeling is that, I don't know, I just felt like things worked out better the first one. I don't know if it's because we were so pumped up to be playing there the first time, and I don't know if it we felt like for the second one we didn't need to practice as much because we're we're here last week. We did kind of sort of meet up, but I don't know. I just felt like the first one went a little better. Not to say that the show on July 9th went badly at all. It was great also, but the July 2nd one just felt real nice. I don't know, something about it. Just me thinking out loud, which is this. I mean, if you think about it, this entire thing. Weird, man. So yeah, last Friday, July 9th, that was a fun show. And the band that played after us was this really cool, classic rock vibes, almost like Fleetwood Mac kind of band. They were called The Fool's Agenda. You should look them up because they're pretty interesting. They have a female lead singer. They have, it almost felt like they had two lead guitar players. They kind of just traded off on leads. And then I really liked their bass player. He sounded really good and really, different than what the guitars were doing. I always love when the bass, obviously, you play a song in the same key or whatever, but when the bass is really doing its own thing compared to the guitars. It was definitely one of those kind of bands, you know what I'm saying? So, they were awesome, The Fool's Agenda. And then our buddy Chris Phoenix, who hooks us up with playing at the O's, his band, Stillwater Band, I was I was aware that he was in this, classic rock sort of cover band. They play some country stuff, some modern, they played a Maroon 5 song was their last song. I've been aware of them, but to actually see them, live, I was there. I when I play a show, I stick around as long as I can to watch all the other bands performing after me. That's just what I do, especially, that show was only 3 bands. So it's how could I just play and then leave? That's just me personally, not to shit on anybody who's got work the next day or other shit. But it's I always try to stick around as long as I can. And I did. And I was basically blown away by how good, Chris is at drumming. He's super solid. not just saying that because he's the guy who books One Word Trend at the O's. I was like legitimately like, whoa, this is a nice surprise. I was kind of just expecting like, just a cover band, whatever. But I was like, damn, this is cool. This is a fun way to spend a Friday night. I might have also been a few beers deep as well. That really made me like extra love it. But for real, it was a good time. I really, really appreciated it. And just to see like a super awesome drummer besides Joe, because I see Joe every week and he's awesome. But then to see like another awesome drummer like up there, I was like, ooh, this is entertaining. So yeah, that's pretty much the update on One Word Trend stuff. We'll actually be back there. I mean, we're kind of talking to a few other people, possibly having a show in Westfield. I don't know the full details. Nick was kind of working on that, but we'll be back at the O's, all the way in October. But I guess keep that in mind if you will remember. We'll be back there on October 15th at the O's for One Word Trend, and obviously we're looking to get some shows sooner than that. We're working on it. So that's about it for One Word Trend. And as far as my solo gigs go, I'm very happy to say that I'll be at Vanished Valley Brewing, one of Ludlow's 2 breweries. I'll be performing there on Sunday the 18th from 2 to 5. So I'll be playing my acoustic jams, some acoustic versions of One Word Trend songs, but mainly covers and the stuff that I like to play when I'm, at a bar or restaurant, the stuff that, it's like when you're a solo performer at one of these things and it's like acoustic, you're basically your own, you have to be a bit of a DJ almost, you have to select the songs that you think are good. So it's like, but I very much go to what I feel like playing, and hopefully you like it, but I just do my own shit. I try to never, not to shit on my buddy Nick, who's the bass player of of One Word Trend, but the fact that he played Chicken Fried or whatever, I'm like, oh, you're giving in. You're like, he knows it too, but like he was glad he like learned it. He was just like, I hate to like just learn such a extreme like sole purpose of crowd pleasing song, but he was like happy he did. That's fine. Me, I'm like just like, I don't give in. I'm like, no, I will play what I want to play, and I hope you like it, but it's not my problem if you don't. Which is a horrible kind of attitude to have. I'm sure if anybody from Vanished Valley is listening to that, they're probably like, oh, well, fuck this guy already. But I try to stay true to what I like, and most of the time, I play like some pretty crowd pleasing stuff. I'm not like this complete like purist, like I only play the most soulful, deep and dark whatever songs. Like I got some, I play like a song that's in one of the Shrek movies or whatever, not to give anything away. But I play stuff like that. I play a few radio hits, like, a couple Post Malone songs. But anyway, I don't want to give away too much. You should just come and listen to it on July 18th from 2 to 5, Vanished Valley in Ludlow. It's pretty easy to get to. If you're driving from other places, it's pretty much like you get off the Mass Pike and you just go right. Just keep going right. Keep going down that street, past the police station. Keep it going. Then eventually, not even that far down the road, you're at Vanished Valley, where they have some pretty good beers. I don't know much about the food situation, but everybody's told me that it's good, so I hope so too. I hope to get some free food and free beer out of it, and it's always better when it's free, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's about it for my musical updates and stuff like that. What's going on? How about some funny shit? Not funny, kind of a pain in the ass thing that I've been dealing with, but you'll probably laugh at my my expense. Just some shit. The other day, I think it was a couple days ago, at work. This is a funny work story, I guess. I work from 7 to 3 every day. And I've said it before on this podcast. I make it a point to be like, 3 o'clock rolls around, I'm getting the fuck out of here, all right? I got shit to do. I basically look at my life like this is the shit that I have to do just to pay for my house. And then at 3 o'clock, that's when I try to do like my job where I'm my own boss, sort of, kind of, what I'm trying to eventually make it. Whereas like I get out of work and it's like, all right, what podcast type stuff am I going to do? What music stuff am I going to do? What progress am I going to make in what I want to be my career so I can stop working at this fucking place? So when somebody at work tells me that, you know, at 1:30, me and this other guy, this fucking old guy, have to go and load up a riding mower, drive out to somewhere in Enfield, and cut that grass. And it's already 1:30. Like I said, I try to leave at 3 all the time. I get a little ticked off. I'm like, you know, throwing these little digs, like, you know, do we have to do this? Like, is this like really needed to be done today? Can I wait tomorrow when the grass is probably going to be more dry anyway? Which, you know, it was. Turned out that's how the weather was. The next day, the grass would have been more dry for me cutting it. But anyway, so we load it all up. It's like 1:30. We get to you know, it doesn't take long to get to Enfield. It's like 2 o'clock by the time we get there. But I'm still like, you know, it's 2 o'clock. How long is it going to take to cut this grass? So we take the riding mower off. I look at it. I'm like, so what's the area that needs to get cut? I'm like, you know, is this like hopefully like a half an hour thing? Like, you know, just cut the grass for half an hour, drive back, you know, hopefully make it back to the yard at 3. I call, you know, the headquarters of where I work, the yard, the construction yard. So that's what I'm thinking. Like, oh, this is a little thing. Just cut the grass for half an hour and then go back. But oh, no. I get there. And he's like, yeah, all this from like here to the street. Obviously, I can't visually tell you how big it was, and I'm fucking horrible at math and knowing like square footage and stuff. But it's an area that, you know, takes at least an hour and a half to cut. That's how long it took. So I'm fucking pissed. I look at it and I'm just like, I literally, to the guy's face, I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I'm like, you're like holding me hostage right now? Like, that's what you're doing? Like, he's like, oh, what? You can't work a little overtime? I'm like, well, I guess I don't have a fucking choice now, do I? Like you're going to bring me to this place that I've never seen this place before. And it was actually somebody's house in Enfield. We were like, our company was doing a favor for this one guy or whatever. I don't know. But, you know, we get to this house that I've never been to before, an unknown area, don't know what the grass situation is like, so I don't know how long it's going to take. This guy takes me out there without me knowing any of this information, not knowing how far away it is, how long it's going to take. And then he's basically like, oh, we got to cut it. Like, yo, you can't work a little overtime? I'm like, dude, don't you think it would be a good idea to let a person know who usually, like always, I'm known for fucking leaving at 3 o'clock. Like, wouldn't you think it's a good idea to just be like, hey, you know, by the way, it might take a little while. Is it fine if we go over there? Is that something you can do today? No, none of that. Just bring me there and basically fucking hold me hostage. And plus, on the drive there, this old motherfucker is trying to first of all, oh my God, just the fact that he's old and trying to text and drive. Like, do you understand that? Is that coming through? Am I conveying that message? Like, do I have to explain myself? He's old, in his 70s, fucking texting and driving. I'm in the passenger seat, and I'm just like, oh, well, fuck my life, I guess, you know? Just whatever. And I'm like telling him, like, I told him like 3 times, I'm like, dude, you have an iPhone. Can you just like ask Siri to fucking call this person or do whatever the fuck you got to do? So that's already pissing me off on the way over. And then I start cutting this grass, and here's the other thing that pisses me off. I start to cut the grass, and this guy fucking leaves. So I'm just sitting there by myself, literally stranded. And like, I'm not gonna ride the riding lawnmower all the way back to Springfield. Like, he leaves for a little while. I mean, he comes back obviously before I'm done cutting the grass. But you know, just put yourself in my shoes. I'm like cutting grass at this house I've never been to in Enfield. And my ride is gone. So you can imagine that I'm fucking steaming on this fucking lawnmower. So, and then, you know, but whatever. Like, I basically, like, we left there at like 4 or whatever. It was just like a shitty thing. And it was, you know, maybe you find that funny. That's why I share that. Maybe my anger makes you funny. Oh my God, but I can't even, I got off on, I really got into that story and forgot to look at my notes. The whole big thing of that story that I should have said in the beginning is earlier in the day, I was listening to my buddy Davis, his song Drifter, that is on the new Scrims EP. I was listening to Drifter by the Scrims, written by my friend Davis. And like that song, the whole time that I'm like pissed off and stuff, what made me not like verbally lash out at this guy more than I kind of already did was the fact that I had the song Drifter stuck in my head. And it's such an easygoing, nice, relaxing fucking song that is so well written that to be honest, it's like, might be crazy to say this, but it's one of my favorite songs that Davis has ever written. One of the Horgan Bros, if you don't know. And yeah, so like in my head, I'm like, damn, if you're ever, I want to like tell the world, if you're ever feeling pissed off or whatever, just listen to this song Drifter. Tell me that you're not instantly in at least a little bit of a better mood. If it's got to curb your anger just a little bit, or you're not human. Like this shit is. So yeah, I can't believe I didn't say that in the beginning of this story. The fact that song was like circling in my head made the situation a little better. So if you haven't heard the Scrims EP, What is a Scrim, and listen to the song Drifter, another one I like is Sun Kissed. All of them are good, really, but those are my like favorites at the moment, my recommendations. Go check that shit out. Check out every Horgan Bros band and podcast and whatever. It's like, if you're already here, might as well. All right. So, what else here? Oh, big, events happen. I mean, all of last weekend was pretty fucking awesome because, had a show with One Word Trend on Friday. Saturday was UFC 264. And Sunday was the Euro final. Now, we've been trying to not be so sports heavy on this podcast, but I got like another 10 minutes to fill. Sorry, I'm probably only going to leave this at a half hour one. It's tough to think of a bunch of things to talk about by yourself. The last solo episode I did was half an hour, so that's what I'm shooting for. But anyway, enough of that. Enough of my scattered brain. Scatterbrained EP goes into that. Enough of that. Enough of me going off on different directions and everything. UFC 264 was pretty entertaining. I think, everybody's talked about it already. It's almost been a week since the events. Everybody knows Conor McGregor broke his leg, or ankle, leg, lower leg, whatever. But here's some of my takes on what happened. I was super impressed with Chris Moutinho, not just because he's a pork chop from Massachusetts fighting in the UFC, but just how could you not be impressed with that kid who he's going up against Sugar Sean O'Malley, one of like the biggest rising stars in the UFC right now, who's like, he's got style, he's got charisma, he's got the technical abilities, he's barely ever lost. One of his running jokes is that he's like undefeated, even though like, technically he lost by doctor stoppage or TKO one of his fights or whatever, but kind of like he's kind of right. He's undefeated. He's like only lost by technicality. But so Chris Moutinho's going up against a dude like that and taking the fight on like, I don't even know how short notice. I think it was like 11 days notice. Don't quote me on that. But so this kid goes in there and is just, front foot forward, just going forward, just even though he's taking shots to the face left and right, like 70 punches to the face per round. He is just like a bull. You can't just, you couldn't stop him. He just keeps going, just kept pushing forward, even though he kept getting tagged like crazy. And just that fact alone, I'm like, dude, this fucking pork chop from Massachusetts just like representing us well. You know what I'm saying? Just going in there, not giving up. He's getting punched in the face like crazy, but he's still throwing. He's still going for it. He don't care that he's getting punched in the face. He's relentless, going forward. I love to see it. So big shout out to Chris Moutinho. I'm glad he got a little fight of the night bonus. I hope he sticks around in the UFC for a long time because that's exciting. He is what we love to see. Just a dude who just does not give up. And, everybody's like, oh, come on, Herb Dean, stopping the fight with 30 seconds left. You might as well just let it go. Herb Dean could have very well stopped that a lot earlier. I think he was being generous for letting that fight go on as long as it did, because like it gets to a certain point in the third round where like everybody knows, you're like, all right, Sugar Sean definitely won. We're all very impressed that this guy can keep going, but it gets to a point where it's like, this is your first UFC fight. Herb Dean's probably thinking, I better save this guy some damage because it looks like he's just going to keep going. He's going to let himself get punched in the face. And a referee's job is to, when you see that somebody's not properly defending themselves and definitely getting beaten, the referee's job is to step in. It's like, so I wasn't that mad at that. And, Herb Dean is by far my favorite ref ever. I've been, the whole time I've been watching UFC, Herb Dean's been one of the refs. And I used to love, like, in the early days when he'd just be like, you ready to fight? You ready to fight? Let's go. Like, he would be so... It would make me chuckle how like unenthusiastic he used to be in the beginning, but like such a chill dude at the same time. I'm like, this dude's the fucking man. And he's, he rarely fucks up. No ref is perfect. No human can perfectly, stop certain situations or whatever at the perfect time. But for the most part, he doesn't fuck up very often. So, I'm a big Herb Dean fan. Some of the other notable fights that really stood out to me, I was a little upset that Stephen Wonderboy Thompson couldn't get it done against Gilbert Burns, but at the same time, Gilbert Burns did do enough to win. That was a very strategic, like, chess match of a fight from my eyes, and I just love watching Wonderboy Thompson fight because he's like so interesting to watch. He's brute force is not how you would ever describe Wonderboy Thompson. It's just, strategy wise, he's so fun to watch. And, he was doing good. He did all right. He put up a good fight, but you can't disagree with the decision that Gilbert Burns did more to win that fight. I think he ended like a couple of the rounds on top. So it's like instantly you're kind of like, yeah, this dude kind of has it. But, Wonderboy Thompson didn't get like destroyed. He just, if you look at it from a competitive competition perspective, Wonderboy Thompson didn't do enough compared to Gilbert Burns. So, I think the future's still pretty bright for Wonderboy Thompson. He's still going to be around for a while. He's always fun to watch. And then the main event, like I said, if you're listening to this, you've probably already heard 3 podcasts talking about this fight. But anyway, my take on it is that whether Conor broke his leg or not or whatever, Dustin was going to win that fight. If you just take everything that you could have taken from that first round, to me, I look at that and I'm like, yeah, maybe Conor would have lasted a little longer, but Dustin was going to kick his ass. Like, that's just how it is. That ground and pound that Dustin was laying out to Conor, it's like, yeah, he got up afterwards, which led to the whole Conor ankle leg break thing. Like, that was by far, if you ask me, I'm not a judge and I don't even know all the full technical rules, but like, Dustin won that first round. If we're judging this fight only by one round and you don't take into consideration like doctor stoppage or whatever, for whatever strange reason, it's a 1-round fight, Dustin won that fight in my eyes. Sorry. And, maybe I'm a little biased because I've always kind of hated McGregor because I don't know, just don't like his, just don't like him. I don't know. And I think a lot of people don't like him now after like his continued shit talk after the fight was over. Like, yeah, you say some crazy shit to sell a fight, but then like 9 times out of 10, when a fight's over, you see the two fighters just like, shake hands or even hug and just be like, yeah, man, like, congratulations to him. Or like the guy who loses is usually like, congratulations to him. I'm going to come back and do better, this and that. Fucking Conor's over here like, oh, if we got to take this outside, we're not done. This is not over. Like, okay, buddy. I don't know if that's the pain and adrenaline of your broken ass leg talking, but like, we've seen you a little more humble in defeat, a little more, classy, and it just adds on to how much I don't fucking like the guy. I love his whiskey though. Proper Number 12 is some good shit. It's like, I gotta be honest, my second favorite whiskey. There's Wild Turkey 101. then there's proper number 12. I gotta say, it's good shit. I'm probably gonna go have some right after this. So, yeah, UFC 264 it was. The last UFC was awesome. I liked it. And then the next one, we got, I think Amanda Nunes is fighting, and Derek Lewis. Is that the same card? God damn it. Why'd I even start bringing it up? I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But anyway, I know Derek Lewis is fighting soon for the interim belt, air quotes that you can't see. That's pretty dumb if you ask me. I think we should have I mean, I love watching Derek Lewis fight, but we all know the next big heavyweight fight should have been Ngannou and John Jones. Me, I just have been fiending to see John Jones fight again. He's like literally one of my favorite fighters ever. I just want to see the dude fight. I don't even care who he fights. I just want to see John Jones fight again. And if it's against Ngannou, who's like one of my new favorite fighters, I'm like, yes, let's all see it. What's going on, Dana White? We don't want this interim belt shit, as much as I do love Derek Lewis and think he's probably going to win that. But so that's coming up. Pete and I will talk about that. Going up to it and our reactions. Obviously, we always will. UFC and football are the main sports on this shit. Speaking of football, we are getting closer and closer to the NFL season, folks. I'm starting to get a little anxious, a little excited. My on all the social media things, or the pages and stuff that I follow, like they're starting to talk a little bit about football, a little bit of this person's doing here, this going there, blah blah blah. So I'm getting a little excited here, getting a little itching to see some American football. But yeah, speaking of football, the Euro final. My thoughts on that were, I remember watching that penalty kick, literally saying out loud, me and Cassie were watching it, I just said to her, I'm like, dude, I fucking love this sport. Like when that penalty shootout was happening and like some of the saves that happened, oh dude, the drama, the crazy drama. And I was kind of pushing for England to win just because they have quite a few Manchester United players on there. But they got, you can't help, I can't help but say England kind of blew it in a way because they had the lead. My boy Luke Shaw from Manchester United scored a beautiful goal in the second minute, and then they had the lead and just kind of looked like we're being too cautious. It's like, you got to put your opponent away. I don't care if it's a final and you just like they're probably saying to themselves, I don't care if it stays 1-0 the whole rest of the game. A win is a win. We need to get it done. But you gotta put Italy away, We know that Italy was able to come back. They've done it before in the tournament. And yeah, Italy got a goal back, and it brings it to the lottery of penalties. I mean, talk about an extra time that was just a whole lot of nothing. Like, it's almost like they just wanted it to go right to PKs. But yeah, and then it's a bit of a lottery, and to be honest, it's like Donnarumma is a better goalie than Pickford. I mean, I don't think many people would argue with that. And then it just comes down to like the pressure. I just had a feeling like the pressure is way more on these England players than the Italian players. It's like they're at Wembley Stadium in front of a bunch of, they have the pressure of all those England supporters that are just like, oh, dude, please, you got to score it. You got to score it. And then you got some young dudes going up to take these shots. Like Rashford and Sancho, I'm pretty sure, like, 21 or 23, something like that. Like, they're young dudes. So, like, you're going to get mad at Rashford for hitting the post, and then Sancho, his shot was saved. It's like, I never, it always bothers me when people are like, oh, he missed the penalty. It's like, did he miss the penalty or did the goalie save it? Like, obviously the odds of scoring are, it's supposed to go in. The goal, like you're 12 yards away from the goal, shooting at it, more likely than not, it's going to go in. It's in the shooter's favor, not the goalie. But then it's like, you got to give credit to the goalie. Like Donnarumma saved it. Like he guessed the right way. And then we see a lot of times they guess the right way. That doesn't mean you're going to save it. So like guess the right way and save it. And then it comes down to 19-year-old Saka, who like needed to score, and then it gets saved. It's like, dude, the kid's fucking 19 years old, enduring an amount of pressure that none of us will ever endure in our lifetimes even. Like, you don't know what that's like to have the like half the world watching, and then that entire stadium watching. Like, talk about like stage fright or whatever. Like, oh, man, it's crazy. And then I don't even want to bring it up, but then it's like, of course, these ignorant ass motherfuckers go on social media and they're like, oh, every black player who took a penalty fucked up and the white players scored. We got to stop having all these black players on it. Like, dude, it's fucking sickening. Like, it goes without saying. And it's just like, it gets my blood boiling, which if it doesn't get your blood boiling, like, fuck you. Like, just fuck any sort of racism in any form. And then, but the silver lining to that, if there is one, is like the positive messages so much outweighed the negative ones, which is like, just goes to show, like, racism doesn't win. Like, your brain is flawed if you think like racistly, if that's a word. If you're thinking like that and you just have like hatred towards any people, it's like you don't win. Like, that's just how it is. Like, so it's good to see like the outpouring of positive messages to combat the negative ones that these black young players on England unfortunately had to endure from these fucking coward ass keyboard racist motherfuckers. Like one of my favorite players right now is Marcus Rashford, because like he plays like Ronaldo. He's a young, good Manchester United player. He has like a mural I think it's in Manchester, because he's done great things for the kids of Manchester, and is like a class act kind of dude. So like they made a mural of him, and then like the day after he fucks up this penalty in the Euro final, it gets like defaced and everything. Like, I don't know what people drew on it, because like any picture you saw online was blacked out, or I didn't feel the need to look into it. I just like, oh yeah, it was vandalized. I don't need to see what it was. Whatever it is, it's fucking horrible. But then, the next day, like all the people who love and support Rashford cover up the graffiti with like, hearts and positive messages and stuff like that. So like, I'm all for that. Fuck you if you're racist. That's the ending, theme here. So it's like, yeah, felt bad for England for multiple reasons. I was more pulling for them, but Italy, if we're talking about back to just like the game itself, Italy, like I was saying, I don't know if I said it earlier on a podcast, but it's a classic example of defense wins championships. Like, the star players of that Italian squad are Bonucci and Chiellini and Donnarumma. Like, defense wins championships. You got a solid world-class defense, and you got like some pretty good players. Like, actually, Chiesa did really good the whole tournament. The Juventus player, Chiesa, he had some really nice goals. You got to give him credit. But it's like, if you got a player like that putting in a goal or two in the game, and then you have a quality defense, it's like your championship material. I was saying earlier, like when we first started talking about the Euro on this podcast, I was like, Italy's had an easy ride in the beginning, but then it's like, they were faced with some challenges, and they did, come out on top. So, got to give credit where credit's due. So, big old congratulations to Italy and all the Italian fans who are happy they won. There's definitely plenty around the world, and I hope they take good care of that trophy that Portugal had to hand over. I was a little sad seeing Eder walk out with that trophy that he helped win in 2016, and just be like, we're no longer the champions, we got to hand it over, but that's life. But World Cup coming up, I like Portugal's odds. We're going to talk about that, don't you worry. Not today, because it's already 9:00 here, Eastern Standard Time. Not that this is live, but on a Thursday night, 9:00. I got to try to save this and upload it. That's why, like I said, there's been a lack of editing. It's just one track, save it, export it, put it on Buzzsprout to go out to the avenues. So hopefully, Friday, if you're listening to this Friday at work, hopefully I've provided you a little bit of entertainment. big thank you and shout out to my Low-Life friends who listen to the Ludlow-Life podcast. So this has been Lou on a Thursday night. Sorry if this is a little short, but like I said, it's better to leave them wanting more than to ramble on and have this become a shit show, which we all know my brain can just go to a fucking tangents and dumb, boring, shit like that. We're going to try to avoid that while the getting's good. So, I hope to see some of you guys at Vanished Valley this Sunday, 2 to 5. I'm pretty sure my boy Ian from the C3 podcast was saying he was going to go. So, yeah, come on by, hang out, support local music and local business, really, shout out to a Ludlow business. This is the Ludlow-Life podcast, and I'll be performing at a Ludlow brewery. So that's pretty cool. And so until next time, thanks for listening. Give us a rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, because that's that's how the podcast has been uploaded lately. We're kind of at the moment stuck to just Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But like I said, me personally, that's how I listen to all my podcasts, is Apple Podcasts. So if you guys could please give us a good rating and, tell your friends, share it, stuff like that. We're still trying to work our way up here, obviously, with our, 30-something subscribers on YouTube, which is probably going to decline, go even lower because haven't been uploading them to YouTube because of all these computer issues. But thank you for sticking with us and listening, and till next time, thanks for listening to the Ludlow-Life podcast. See ya.